Okay, it's really early on a Sunday morning, and I did want to react to the funerals that were on Friday for Aretha Franklin and John McCain. And I didn't, I didn't watch either of those. I thought it was kind of, I didn't, I mean, since when is a funeral supposed to be a fucking show? And I'll talk about that in a second. But one of the most touching moments, I believe, happened according to many people, between President Bush and what's her name, First Lady Michelle Obama. And here we go. This is a recap of it.
Hi, I am very ugly, but you should enjoy the movie anyway. Excuse me, sir. I hope my horrible
That's him talking to Dick Cheney.
ugliness won't be a distraction to you.
Not at all, boy!
Don't worry about him, SpongeBob. He's just a...
I don't know what the hell this is. But basically, of course, I didn't watch the funerals at work. I just, I mean, who was supposed to know that a funeral would turn out to be some sort of gala event? But indeed, that's what it was. And I'll react, first of all, to the fact that it was politicized. And that now, apparently, everybody's supposed to believe that these two... Well, Aretha Franklin, I have nothing against because, you know, I've listened to some of her music. And, you know, it's not like I'm a terribly huge fan of hers, or or on the contrary, that I don't like her music. I happen to like a number of other Motown artists. I happen to follow them just a lot more closely. So, yeah, of course, I have nothing bad to say about her. And John McCain, I'm sorry to say, he's one of the reasons that I really can't belong to a political party, because he's just such a person that was about being literally welded to the office that he held. Okay, so when you have this funeral that apparently now we're all supposed to be sad about, that he's of course he passed away and whatever. And you know, I saw the interview with John Sununu of New Hampshire, who, you know, I don't think, as much as I criticized John McCain, and I never really warmed up to him as a candidate, even though I obviously wasn't going to vote for Obama either, or for that matter, Hillary Clinton. You know, I thought it was very noble of him to defend his friend and say, well, I was a friend of John McCain, etc., and not let the CNN host Allison Camerata politicize the interview by dragging Donald Trump into it. But instead, that's what happened at the funeral. And it was just a bunch of nonsense with Biden getting up there and declaring, oh, I'm a Democrat and I love John McCain, blah, blah, blah. Nobody cares, man. Nobody cares. And then you had Meghan McCain going up there, of course, and delivering her rebuke of the Make America Great Again agenda. You know, again, your dad, if it was such a personal moment for you, why are you worried about the people who aren't even there? The people who, for one thing, one of the reasons that they ended up picking a different person later was because of things that your dad did that they didn't agree with. So you're going to now use the event of his passing in order to rebuke the people that he was at odds with his entire life, when many of us are ready to move on and say, hey, you know, that's about it. See you later, man. Look, I don't think that we should continue to litigate John McCain's funeral or anything like that. But what it ends up being is really, these events are a display of who really is important and who doesn't matter. Okay, the people that were in the front rows at these two funerals, or even on the stage, I think in the case of Aretha Franklin's funeral, you know, it just shows that this is all about the apex of political power in the United States. And those people that are not on the stage are really the people that are being preached at, the ones that are being said to, hey, you belong to us. We own you. And you can't really say anything, or else we'll call you an insensitive piece of crap. That's really the message from those funerals, and that's something that I'd like to address. I'm somebody who I actually feel more comfortable going to a funeral, or going even to, in Judaism we have the Shiva, which are the 7 days of mourning. You go to somebody's house and you say condolences to the people. I don't know why. I usually don't have a problem with that, but I've been to a lot of funerals and Shivas in my life. Of course, my dad, when his parents passed away, I went to of course, I had my own Shiva when my mom passed away. And it's supposed to be it's not supposed to be an event where you get into these massive spectacles of whatever, whatever it is. You're not supposed to be getting into these all these situations or whatever. Of course, I know a lot of people. I know a lot of people, for example, they've had Catholic funerals. I remember, I think it was a funeral for a Baptist one time, and I really think that these events, they're supposed to be about reflection on the life of the person who's been lost, and you know what, anything that's beyond that, I think, kind of detracts from the real importance of the situation. Okay, and just to illustrate how hard it is sometimes, I remember, and I didn't get to go to the funeral because it was overseas. I think 4 years ago, might have even been 5 years now. I received word that a friend of mine had drowned mysteriously. And my reaction to that was, I cannot. I mean, I can understand how this happened because this is somebody who took a lot of risks, but you never really recover from the shock that somebody who was of your age, and I was probably 28 at the time. Somebody of your age had passed away of unnatural circumstances, mysterious circumstances in his case, because some have alleged that there was there was foul play. And then you just wonder. You wonder about what could have been with this person. And that wasn't the only one. I've had a couple friends who have died of drug overdoses. I recently had a friend who murdered his father and committed suicide along with his brother. I had to go to the uncle's house and give, of course, everybody comes and gives their wishes. And I had to, of course, I had to address him, knowing that he knew that the tightest connection that I had to the family was through his nephew that had killed his brother. It was a bizarre situation, and that's really, those are really what you're trying to do. You're trying to be kind of a person who's there to be a show that you cared about that person too, the person who's been lost. And that's what you're doing at a funeral or at a commemoration or whatever. Now, of course, I think a lot of people did go to the McCain and Franklin funerals with that in mind, but the media was not using it as such. They were using it to say that this is the real leadership, and this is the real spirit of America. The people who are up there on the stage, the people who are social betters, our social, the examples of who leads our society, and their behavior plainly showed the opposite. Okay, maybe at the McCain funeral not as much. I heard that it was just long and overblown, and I guess people didn't really, they didn't do so many things that were ostentatious. Then at the Franklin funeral, bizarrely, the funeral of the less political person, they decided to put on the stage 4 people: President Clinton, Al Sharpton, Jesse Jackson, and Louis Farrakhan. And Farrakhan, well, what is he supposed to be doing there? This is a person who's been basically said bigoted things about nearly every single group of people that you could imagine. Nearly anybody you can find. I have found. I've done the clips called the Farrakhan feminism clips if you want to check them out. Anybody, you could talk about anybody. They are basically targeted by this Louis Farrakhan. And then you have it on the stage with Jesse Jackson, who is known to have, as a reverend, he had a love child with a secretary and everything. And then President Clinton, of course. Let's not get into that because we could be here all night. And Al Sharpton. So these people, they're on the stage. I want to ask something. Why is it that at the funeral for a woman who was one of the greatest icons of the music industry, why would you not have people on the stage that are icons of the Motown sound? You would have, I would say, you could put Al Green on the stage. I think Al Green's still alive. You could put on the stage, of course, Smokey Robinson, who is still alive and actually appeared here not long ago. You could put on the stage any number of different people who worked with or knew Aretha Franklin throughout her career. But they decided to put on the stage 4 figures that are more aligned with politics. In fact, 3 of them, Clinton, Sharpton, and Jackson, had all run for president or been president as a Democrat. So I want to ask exactly what. So look, I get it that I'm assuming that Aretha Franklin must have had some sort of political leaning to the Democrats, and which is fine. But you're making a funeral for somebody whose music was enjoyed by people of all political beliefs or no political beliefs, and you're turning it basically into some sort of huge middle finger to anybody who didn't like any of these 4 individuals, because they were on stage the whole time. There, of course, was the amazing moment when Bill Clinton was basically looking at Ariana Grande's ass, which, that's the Bill Clinton I know. That's the Bill Clinton I remember as a kid. I grew up under Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton's behavior shaped the type of person that I am because, we loved the Bill Clinton jokes when we were kids. All of us. The Bill Clinton joke is the symbol of the Democrat in my mind. We love those jokes, and I'm saying that unironically. I would have voted for him for a 3rd term just to hear more of his oral sex jokes from all over the. It has nothing to do with politics. You can look at the person as funny and still know that he has zero to no integrity, or zero. Yeah, he just has zero integrity. President Clinton. But the jokes were funny. And that's not a political belief. It's just the fact. We thought Bill Clinton was hilarious. And to put him on stage to draw attention away from the magnitude of the moment. That this was, I think she was called the Queen of Soul, Aretha Franklin. That just shows how little they really cared about the memory of the person being, of course, departed from the world. So I think that those of you that are in the walkaway movement, and I know I've made a video before where I said, I kind of walked away before I could even vote because of Al Gore. But look, I would hope that when my dad is a Democrat, we could I think we can still enjoy the company of each other without everything becoming political. Now sometimes it ends up being that way, but there are people who have to go through with these difficult moments in their lives, and instead of making it the focus of the person that's been lost, the family that's lost them, the music community that was really devoted to that, which I think Aretha Franklin had a very decent audience. You made it about these clowns. This is why people are deciding to either abandon the Democratic Party and go to maybe the Republican Party, or abandon the party and just not vote, or maybe even go to the left, go to the Green Party or a different party. They just want to be able to separate their politics from this constant barrage of propaganda. So that's about it. Please leave a comment in the video after it uploads. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. Also, subscribe to the Walk Away channel. I know they have a new one. And please, I'll see you guys later. And have a great Sunday.